Minglawa, welcome to MITV special program Perspectives. For this program, we have invited guest of honor, Sia Wu Ejan, who is Councillor of Myanmar Press Council and Chairman of Myanmar E-Commerce Association, and also Vice Chairman of Myanmar Digital Economy Association of UMFCCI. Minglawa Sia.
Minglawa.
Thank you for your time. And previous week, we have discussed about China. Now, we would like to continue about learning from China. And as you have mentioned about the fundamental principles of the China, you also mentioned about law and order. So how about law and order?
Yeah, one of the fundamental principles, the key point is China, they always want to have a security-based development. You cannot anyhow develop and at the expense of, law and order, at the expense of being peaceful. Yeah, so they need to have, so China has to have effective law and order ongoing over 1.4 billion people. Yeah. So the underlying thing that they say is they want to provide sound legal guarantees. Legally, they want to have guarantees, sound legal guarantees for building China into a modern socialist society. It's always that basis. Yeah, build China into a modern socialist society, common prosperity for all. Yeah, that's the basic slogans. Also. Yeah, so in order to do that, law and order wise, they say a few things. They say 11 points. So for the sake of the time, I'm not going to mention all the 11 points anymore. A few key points I want to highlight. The first one is they want to accept that everybody want to accept the CPC leadership in law-based governance. Everybody cannot, dispute the CPC, Communist Party of China, the Politburo. That is the leader, the lead body leading China into the future. They have to accept that. So nobody can dispute and say challenge the CPC is not the right, not the what people choice for the government. Nobody can say all this nonsense. Yeah, so that's the first thing that I want to highlight. The second one is, they have a system for socialist rule of law. They want to accept any rule of law from any other country. Not because America did that, not because Europe did that. They want to accept their law. Then they will have a socialist system, socialist rule of law with Chinese characteristics. That's what they're going to have. I want to highlight that's another one. The third one I want to highlight is they want to have strict law enforcement. That is very important. It's not good just having laws. Yeah, it's not. So in order to have order, you need to have law enforcement. You need to enforce the law so that you have orderly development in the country, right? So law enforcement is very important, and that's what they say. And plus, impartial administrative justice, regardless of how high level you are, the law is the same for everyone. That's what they say in here as well. And plus, everybody has to obey the law. Yeah, there's no exception. That's what China has stated that. And plus, next one I want to highlight is they want a coordinated approach to the law at home and in matters involving foreign parties. So sometimes you see, especially in developing countries like Myanmar, foreigners, they may, police and all these, they may have difficulty or they may have reluctance to enforce the same rule of law compared to the local Burmese population. So China have highlighted that in order to address that. Foreign, local, same law. You got to face that. Yeah, same rule of law. And plus, they wanted, the last point that I want to highlight is high caliber legal personnel. Legal personnel have to be competent, clever. A high caliber means highly intelligent, with moral integrity, with honesty and all these integrity, and plus professional competence. Yeah, that's the thing that they want to highlight in order to provide legal guarantees in building a modern socialist society.
Mm-hmm. So, as you have mentioned about law and order, how do they develop culture and control the internet?
Oh yeah, correct. Because that is always been an issue, isn't it? Because Myanmar in 2021, 22, we go into quite a bit of trouble because of this, attacks and cyber things on the internet. Because as I mentioned before, right, development of our own internet that is not get accompanied by regulations and the governance of that internet, especially the Facebook. The result of that is, unruly behavior, unethical behaviors, yeah, without no decency on the Facebook, yeah, and then very anti-Myanmar cultural things on the Facebook appear. Yeah, that is what China has managed to avoid. Right? They only follow 3 simple steps to build a better cyberspace. Number 1 is sound cyber culture. It's not good enough having a good culture when you and I meeting here. We need to have good culture when you and I are dealing on the internet as well. And that's the first one.
Online and offline.
Both online as well as both digital as well as physical. Yeah, we need to have. That's why they say sound cyber culture, culturally, high standards. That's number 1. Number 2 is China will always reinforce cyber governance. Governance means governing how the government control cyberspace. They're always improving, they're always reinforcing, they're always showing that government is powerful there in the cyberspace as well. By doing that, the government is sending a signal to the population. Don't do anything funny on the cyberspace. Don't do anything that you will not do outside on the physical world. Don't do anything that you will not do when you and I meet outside. Yeah, that's the government is always giving signal by reinforcing the governance and control. Right? For example, if you and I meet physically here, I will not swear and curse at you. So which means I should not swear and curse at you on the Facebook and cyberspace as well. Yeah, so that's what the government want to signal that. Yeah, you have to be culturally high standard outside, physical as well as in the digital world. Yeah, that's the second one. The third one is the one that Myanmar has made a mistake of, not coordinating development of cyberspace with governance. Right? You cannot just develop the cyberspace that really develop without following regulations and governance to govern the development. Right? So without that, we will have what we have experienced in 2021-22. Yeah, because the governance is far, far behind the development of the cyberspace in here.
So how do they ensure literature and art does not go against the nation?
Yeah, you will also realize that, in the last few years, there are loads of artists, actors, actresses going against the governments and, trying to be anti-government, anti-country, try to do the CDM and all these things, right? So China, in order to prevent that, they even write down the list of things for the artists, actors, actresses, singers, what to do and what they cannot do. That's what China, how exact China is. They tell the writers and the artists include writers as well, writers, poets, everyone. Writers and artists. Number 1, they must champion the cause of the national, the China itself. They must always be pro-China. They must always say China is good. They must always say that people should always love China. Chinese should always love China. China is the best country. Yeah, they must cultivate a culture so that people will love their own country, not going against your country. Yeah, that's what the government specifically say, the artists, that they should not go against, they should not be anti-China. They should always be pro-China. Their writings, their poems, their movies always has to be pro-China. They cannot be anti-China. Yeah, that's probably what we need here as well. Yeah, and the other one that I want to highlight is, the government tells specifically the writers and the artists to tell Chinese stories and present China as a country worthy of friendship, trust, and respect. The artists and the writers must write about good Chinese things, good Chinese stories. Myanmar also have so many good stories anyway, if they want to write. And plus, present the country, present China or Myanmar, be it whatever. Yeah, present China as a country worthy of friendship, respect, and the trust. Yeah, so that's the duty of artists, to promote that. Right? You cannot be the artist and trying to go against Myanmar and say that Myanmar is no good, Myanmar government is no good, Myanmar people are no good. How? If they keep on saying that, how does other people respect us? Nobody will respect us. Right? That's what the Chinese government has specifically stated for the artists. And the last point that they state for the artists and the writers is, if you want your life potential, your life worth, the worth of the artist, the potential of the artist is by having moral integrity as well as artistic success at the same time. Moral integrity, you have to have integrity. For example, you cannot say the fake news and you cannot spread the lies on the internet and expect yourself to be successful. That's not moral integrity. You cannot be going naked online and expect to be successful artistically as well. That's the Chinese government will not allow that. Right? By doing that, that's part of the reasons they have the safe and sound development and better cyberspace as well. Right? That's how they list for the artists and the writers what they can do and they cannot do.
Because they are the great influencers.
Correct, because they influence the population, right? So if they themselves do not have integrity and start telling the lies and the fake news and falsehood, the whole population will go into the trap. The whole country will fall apart. Yeah, that's the government foresee that. That's why government lists what you cannot do and you can do as artists and writers.
So how do they provide healthcare and social security for 1.3 billion population?
Yeah, so it's quite an achievement as well. So the one of the objectives of the government is to build a strong public health system. That is an underlying objective. In that, how to build a strong public health system, they list down 8 steps as well. Yeah, I'm not going to mention all 8, but I'm going to mention a few ones. And for example, they want to strengthen the capacity for monitoring, early warning, and emergency response. Yeah, so they increase the capacity of the public healthcare system. That's one of them. And the other one that they mentioned is they exploit the strength of TCM. TCM is traditional Chinese medicine. In Myanmar also you have Myanmar traditional medicine, Thai right? So the government also will exploit that. So in one cure thing, they do the Western way as well as the traditional way. Yeah, that's part of the objectives on how to build a strong public healthcare system. It's included there. And the other one, laws and regulations of public health. Yeah, that's why you see last time you always read the news that China's COVID regulations are very tough. Right, 1% COVID, everybody stay at home. Yeah, so that type of, they always follow the control with very strict law enforcement. Yeah, that's the other one. And the other one, the second last one that I want to mention is the science and technology. They will try to develop the science and technology so that it can contribute to the healthcare system. And the last one is they will also follow the international exchanges and cooperation to improve the overall healthcare in the country itself.
So it's the way of their to tackle the public health care and social security. So environment and national security, how they tackle?
Okay, the China, the government, or CPC, they talk about, especially the West, they talk about China destroying the environment and the most polluting and producing so much carbon dioxide and contributing to global warming and all these things. They always say that. So the government policy, the government say is always about balancing relationship. What they want to balance? Number one, they want to balance the development and emission reduction. They want to develop as well as they want to reduce the emission, CO2, CO. Right? You cannot just develop without looking at it. Or you cannot not develop and control the emission also. So it has to be a balance. So the government said the government didn't say, they will do this or do that. The government said they will balance the country development and emission reduction. And they said they will also balance the whole and the part. The whole and the part means, some part developed, the whole country not developed, they don't want that. They will balance. Yeah, they will balance some parts. For example, some part is too industrialized and too dirty. Some part of the country is too clean. No, everything balanced. Yeah, and the third one is long-term and short-term. Yeah, long-term and short-term objectives have to be balanced. In the short term, you want to be profitable and all these things. In the long term, you cannot destroy the environment. Yeah, so that's a balancing thing also. And the last one is the government and the market. They obviously, from the economy perspective, they follow the market economy, but the government has to have control. Yeah, how they control the market and the excessive wealth. Yeah, it's also a balancing act. So China was saying that they do, it's very much of an Asian philosophy. Asian, they don't set the specific targets and rule. Everything is, balancing. Yeah, they don't give that much of a prescription per se. They say they balance. Yeah, their balance is 4. And plus, how to achieve that balance? They also write it down. They say 6 steps to achieving that balance. 6 steps. The first one is planning and coordination. You got to plan. You got to coordinate different areas of the different countries. And plus, you need to have advanced energy revolution. You need to have different sources of energy. Be it wind, solar, some other thing. Yeah, so you need to have that. And plus, you need to upgrade the industry. You cannot be using the coal fuel. You can have all the time, dirty fuel all the time. And plus, you need to speed up, green and low carbon scientific and technological evolution. Green technologies you need to increase. And plus, you need to have low carbon policies. And the last is global. You need to participate in the global climate governance as well. So that's how they will achieve the balancing of the 4 items. And in terms of national security, of course, they in terms of numbers, they write down, they list down 10 things, how they want to achieve the holistic approach to the national security for the whole country. Yeah, out of the 10, the key points that I want to highlight is, number 1, they always want to uphold the party absolute leadership. Nobody should challenge the leadership of the CPC. Yeah, so they always start with that. Law and order also they start with. Nobody can dispute that CPC is the leader for China. Nobody can doubt that whether this is the people's government or no democracy. They don't come and say that. Yeah. So the first one, in order to have a security for the whole country, the leadership should always be CPC, and nobody should challenge that. Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah. So everybody should unify under the leadership of the CPC. Yeah, that's what they say. And the other one is, in terms of security, out of the 10, one of the points that they give the highest priority to political security. Yeah, they want a politically very secure. They cannot collapse the political system of CPC leadership, communist system, to build a modern socialist society. They cannot collapse. So that security is very important to controlling the whole of China and to making sure that the whole of China is secure.
So it's a kind of political stability.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
So how do they handle corruption?
Yeah, the Chinese government also put the corruption as the battle against corruption as the first and foremost a political issue. It has to come from the top and the government, politics, something related to politics. Yeah, so they list out 5 items why the corruption is very important for the country. Anti-corruption measures. Yeah, because number 1, corruption undermines the foundation of the CPC, Communist Party of China. Well, if there is corruption, there people will not respect the party, and people will question the party's authority. So that's why they don't just say that party should be number 1. Nobody should challenge. They also say that party should not be corrupt at all. Yeah, if you are corrupt, people will lose respect and people will question your authority also. Yeah, so that's what they state there as well. And the party or the government must have a clear stance against corruption. Yeah, once you are found guilty of corruption, sometimes people even get shot. People even get killed. Jail a long time for corruption. That's the one. And they also state clearly that political corruption is the most serious form of corruption. Corruption while you are being in a government or being in a political office is the worst corruption of all kind. That's what they clearly state that in the China government rules. Yeah.
Okay, so after environmental balance and also political stability for the national security, and also corruption is also handled very strictly. So developing the country cannot be done without talent. How do they develop that?
Oh, just like all the managing China, they always manage the talent also by the numbers. They list down 8 steps on how to develop talent, right? Eight steps. The whole China. There's 8 steps to develop talent. But a few highlights. Number 1 is without talent, obviously you cannot develop the country, right? That's why Myanmar sometimes we are always short of talent. to make the country grow very fast. Yeah, what they say is number one, building a contingent of people of high caliber, people who are intelligent, people who are brave, people who are willing to fight, people who are willing to say. They will develop in mass numbers, not simple one or two. They will develop in hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands. That's why if you look at the Chinese previous Prime Minister Wang Yi, Foreign Minister, he always talk back to he always go back the international reporters and all these things. Managed to fight, willing to fight back. Yeah, so this type of thing. We got now the wolf warriors in international language. Wolf warrior, Wumble. Yeah, wolf warriors. Like another example is the Jai Shankar of the Foreign Affairs Minister of India. Right? You have to be talk back. You have to be able to talk back and fight back to the West. If not, the Western media and the whole world media think that whatever the West say is accurate, which is not. Yeah. And the next one worth highlighting is the talent. They want talent to improve on the scientific and technological frontiers. Or they want the highest of the highest innovation. That talent they will bring it from, whatever across, as long as you're Chinese, probably. Yeah. And the other one is, they will search for the best minds and give full rein to their expertise. They will search for the best people, the top people, the clever people, and they will give them full authority. Of course, and obviously you have to be responsible as well. Authority to fight for their cause, to improve their expertise. Yeah, that's what the key points in developing talent in China. Mm-hmm. That's how they can sustain so much development year after year. Mm-hmm. Right? Without talent, they all collapse.
Yes. So for the government to keep up with the speed of things, how should it successfully reform?
Yeah, reform-wise, the government also stated 7 malpractices, bad things that you shouldn't do, and plus there are 8 things that the official must do to improve the governance of China itself. The 7 malpractice things they cannot do. Number one is making appointments based on favoritism. You are not really qualified because I know you, because you're my sister. That's why I appoint you. That type of thing. I'm a minister. Because you're my cousin. That's why I appoint. But you're not qualified. That is really bad. That's why they specifically say that you cannot make appointment based on favoritism. Obviously, if you're qualified, that's okay. If you're qualified, you're talented, that's okay. Yeah, that's one point. The second one is the one that 7 malpractices. Yeah, one of the things is very important. Making anonymous and false allegations against others and spreading rumors. Yeah, you allegedly makes all the accusations. They say that, you are taking bribes. You are, you don't have integrity. You are dishonest. You make anonymous, it's even worse. Right? I'm trying to destroy your reputation. And I spread rumors about you are this, you are that. But there is not factual basis. So that is purposely outlawed in China. Right? You cannot make like that. In Myanmar, at Facebook, people are always accusing without evidence. Right? Of you are this, you are that, you are a thief, you see this. Right? And then there's no punishment. And without that, we'll be in trouble. These people have to stop. Right? They are like anti-country. Anti-Myanmar. And the other one is, the other one that they mentioned about malpractice is feigning compliance while opposing action and going in their own way. What I'm saying, I pretend to listen to you, but actually when I go back to my own district or my own township, I do a different thing. That's what the government say. That's a malpractice. You can be jailed for that. Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, and the last point I want to mention is making baseless criticisms of Chinese the Central Committee decision. CPC got a Central Committee, the top layer. Yeah, so they obviously they make decisions for the whole country, but they don't want people to be making baseless criticisms of that decision. Right? What I'm saying, if you don't have a factual basis, you are not supposed to criticize the government. That's simple. Right? Yeah, obviously, if I evidence, let's say you're the government, you're the minister, if I evidence that you're taking bribe or you are doing something bad, obviously I have the right to criticize. But I cannot criticize online or offline right, based on my own assumptions that, you are doing bad. Yeah, that's how they make the country peaceful. Yeah, so there's, and then the last point that I want to mention is, they also list down 8 rules for the officials to improve. Only when you improve, you can reform, right? If you do not improve, you'll be like, in Myanmar, we used to say, "Malo misho bapyo." Right? If you don't improve, you'll be like that, right? So how do you improve? Number one, they say, the government say you do the more fact-finding trips. You cannot just sit in the office and expect to know things. You have to go out and try to find out the actual what is happening. That's what they're saying. And the other one is the how to improve, officials to improve. Reduce the documents and briefing. The government want you to reduce the documents. What you want to do? You have to type. You need to approval for this. You type this. All you're like nonsense. You're going around that and it doesn't achieve anything. Plus briefing and meeting. Having so many meetings is not productive. That's the government. Chinese government doesn't want civil servants to have that, right? And then the other one is improve the media reports. Yeah, media reports, so that public is aware. Public awareness of what the government is doing is going to go up. And the other one is standardized arrangements, right? So everything had to be standardized, right? So it's easier for everyone. And the last point I want to mention is practicing diligence and integrity. Diligence means hard work, really detailed and hard work. All the civil servants, in order to improve, you need to work hard. And plus integrity. If you are dishonest, it's difficult for you to improve.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
So thank you. Thank you for insightful discussion. And it's really interesting for our audience and the way how China has made progress and achieved success. And we also have to learn how to improve and to go further development, taking the example of China. You have been watching MITV special program Perspectives. Thanks for joining us.